Bismillah Rahman Rahim, dear viewers, Assalamu Alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, safe and secure seas are of paramount and fundamental importance when it comes to the economic stability and prosperity of the country. It is therefore it's inevitable to have effective participation of all stakeholders into the maritime arena. Particularly, it is important to have sense of ownership among all, to have collective maritime security. Pakistan Navy as a responsible maritime power and a caring maritime partner, always striving to have secure seas and maritime zones, to have smooth operations in all domains, including security, when it comes to trade and commerce, for a multi-dimensional economic growth. And that's why Pakistan Navy conceived a robust idea to have a collaborative security in its maritime zone, particularly in the form of Sea Guard exercise. This exercise was first started, or we can say the first edition of this exercise was initiated in January 2024. And this time when we are in 2025, Sea Guard 2025 held in Karachi from 24th to 28th of February with an overwhelming participation of over 50 public-private stakeholders. It was under the ambit of Joint Maritime Information and Coordination Center, JMICC, with having sea phase and tabletop discussions. It was basically the prime focus was to address the traditional and non-traditional threats, including smuggling, illegal fishing, narco trafficking or drug trafficking, and environmental disasters. We will explore in detail the exercise Sea Guard 2025, its prime objectives, outcomes, and successes over the time, particularly through collaborative maritime security, the threats or the multi-threat environment in Indian Ocean region, area of responsibility of Pakistan Navy, and protecting the national interests, whether they are in trade, commerce, in shipping lanes, or related to the port operations, fishermen, and also the coastal communities. To discuss this very important aspect, we have in our studios from Pakistan Navy, Commodore Abid Hussain, Sitara Imtiaz Military. Most welcome to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And with him, Captain Mohammad Maouz Akrama, Tamga Imtiaz Military. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. So nice of you for your presence here. And online joining us, Commodore Atif Sultan, Tamga Imtiaz Military from Karachi. Thank you very much, Commodore Atif sir, for joining us. My first question to you, Commodore Abid sir, that what are the primary objectives of exercise Sea Guard 2025? To what extent those all were achieved, and how does it contribute actually to the Pakistan's maritime security and safeguarding the national interests?
Thank you very much once again for having me and my team here in your program. I would like to explain regarding objective of the exercise Sea Guard. The exercise Sea Guard objectives are primarily centered around the functioning of Joint Maritime Information Coordination Center. As the name says, the purpose of this center is actually to have smooth and effective coordination between all stakeholders, which are government organizations like port authorities or ministries relevant to the Pakistani waters, where the blue economy is actually intended to be brought to a level where it serves the national economy. Together with that, it has a private organizations in the form of like BICO is one company, the Pakistan State Oil is another. They all have a stakes in having their cargoes to be transported via the sea route. Similarly, the non-governmental organizations which have some interest in the form of coastal tourism or to actually take care of the mangroves, They all are part of the umbrella of JMICC, which as rightly highlighted by you, they are over 50 in number. Beside that, the JMICC is having 12 international linkages with the similar organizations of the countries which are adjoining the Indian Ocean. So, the coming to over to the directly to the question which you said about the objective. Objectives are to actually have reconfirmation or rehearsing the procedures of the Joint Maritime Information Center, how to actually handle such contingencies wherein the either the environment is in danger or the human life is in danger. And the other thing is that to actually ensure smooth and safe operation of all vessels which are merchant ships moving from one place to the other from the Pakistan exclusive economic zone.
So, after the establishment of this JMICC, we were talking before the program that now the coordination is more effective. It's rather just we are wasting time, but it is actually saving the time and saving the lives and precious commodities as well when it comes to the maritime sector. So, how do you see JMICC's work and in coordination, particularly as an umbrella organization?
Yes, prior to the establishment of JMICC, which is back in 2013, according to the Joint Maritime Information Organization, which was approved by the Government of Pakistan in 2012, this mechanism of ensuring all these functions were there in place in Pakistani waters, but then they were all being handled independently. Like the port authorities were independent in handling or to actually know which cargo is coming, when is coming, and to actually deal with the contingencies also. And in that time frame, when there is a problem under the emergency situation, they were not having a proper established mechanism to whom to contact and who will be there to actually assist. Pakistan Navy is primarily there to actually provide protection to the maritime sector at sea. For that, there are two commands of Pakistan Navy. Part of the previous question which I wanted to actually explain here, that the function of JMICC is to actually have a coordination between two important commands of Pakistan Navy. One is the Fleet Command and the other is the Coastal Command. Both have their areas clearly delineated at sea. So, part of that exercise we rehearse the procedure between these two commands also, and simultaneously we actually coordinated with other stakeholders which involve the law enforcement agencies in the form of police, custom, FIA. All these agencies were together in this exercise and we actually rehearsed our procedures well.
So, you have elaborated well. Captain Maus, after establishment of the JMICC, it actually enhanced the coordination among the various stakeholders, as sir rightly elaborated, to generate a well coordinated and effective response to the various issues and even the crisis situation. How much timely the data gathering, then its generation and dissemination is imperative to all stakeholders to deal with any kind of eventuality. How many search and rescue operations done even to save lives pertaining to or adhering to that particular data?
So, I would like to answer this question in three parts. Basically, first, that how JMICC able to actually enhance its sphere of influence, which includes the coordination with all stakeholders. Then actually what is the importance of timely sharing of information, how it is critical. And third is the what we have achieved through this. So, JMICC started in 2013. So, it was initially set up in a very small, you can say a unit with a big mandate, but in last decade it came a long way. You know, it started with initially coordination with the LEAs which are easy to access, like similarly same type of organizations, law enforcement agencies. That was the first step, to have them on board and have started coordination with them. Then it started slowly moving out further, and they have coordination with the port authorities like Gwadar Port, Port Qasim Authority, Karachi Port Trust. It further then started moving towards the ministries to have more influence and have that coordination to be done with all the other stakeholders like mercantile department, fisheries department. But the biggest achievement was JMICC when they started including or adding the coastal communities, the fishermen folk forums. When they became on board, that's become almost, you can say, a very strong group of coordination then started with that, because they are the main, you can say, to whom we are helping actually. You know, these are the communities, and they become a very strong partners. They become the eyes and ears of the Navy actually. So not only we were helping them, they also, you know, helped us in many, you can say, forums and avenues where they actually, their contribution made a lot. So yes, JMICC started in 2013, but till like after passing almost more than a decade, now they have, alhamdulillah, more than 50 stakeholders from the ministries, from the port authorities, from the LEAs, from some NGOs and the coastal community.
Definitely, it's a great success at the national level, really,
So,
for coordination with all public-private stakeholders. Commodore Atif Sahab, as whole of the Sea Guard exercise revolves around Joint Maritime Information and Coordination Center, so how we describe actually the effectiveness of this vital center, especially its linkages with the various stakeholders nationally and internationally? What about the data analytics, available high-tech resources, including JMICC software, which we call Joint Maritime Information System, artificial intelligence, and all other tools which are available, so so that we have a very quick and rapid response?
Thank you very much, Faisal. Before talking about the role of JMICC, it is important to, I think, understand the maritime sector itself. Maritime sector, first we have to understand why it is important. It is important because 95% of the trade of Pakistan is coming through maritime domain. And also almost 100% of fuel oil import is through this sea. So it is important that that we secure the sea, and maritime security becomes very, very important in this context. So to carry out the maritime security, it is important that all the stakeholders who are involved in maritime domain, they connect with each other through a central position, a nerve center that can take information from one stakeholder uh, and then ask the other stakeholders who have the capability to respond in that domain. I can give you example, very simple example of search and rescue operation. A fisherman can call JMICC and provide the information regarding sinking of a boat or any boat in distress due to any reason. That information is passed on to the JMICC. Then JMICC, based on the responsibility of those organizations, like in this case, the lead role is with Pakistan Maritime Security Agency. They can inform Maritime Security Agency. Then they will initiate response accordingly. They can take also help of Pakistan Fleet, who can provide with surveillance assets like aircrafts or ship if available. And then based on that response, those fishermen can be rescued. This is very simple example of how JMICC can be effective in coordinating any incident in the maritime domain. Similarly, we can talk about drug trafficking. In that case, any intelligence agency can inform JMICC, and then JMICC can relay information to the required agency that has to take action and generate response.
Commodore Atif Sahab, sorry to interrupt you here, but you were talking about the threats. So what kind of, for our viewers particularly, who have the little knowledge related to the most of the people who are actually living in the north, and we have the sea blindness as well. So for our viewers, what kind of real-time traditional and non-traditional threats we are confronting at the face of the maritime domain particularly, and what are the vital steps taken to encounter such threats, including what we call smuggling or the illegal fishing, some kind of drug trafficking, because we have seen over the years that Maritime Security Agency and all other agencies are too much busy in these heinous crimes as well. So, any climatic or environmental disaster as well, because storms, cyclones and oil spills and all others, we are confronting all these challenges as well. So, how do you elaborate these traditional and non-traditional threats basically?
Very good question, Faisal. It's important to understand what is traditional and non-traditional threat. In traditional threat, we say it's the threat from our adversary, the threat from our enemy, and in that it trickles down to actually a war with the enemy or a deterrence. In that domain, Pakistan Navy, entire force of Pakistan Navy, that is Pakistan Fleet, Coastal Command, they respond to any threat to our sovereignty. So that is a traditional threat, basically. And non-traditional threat, as you have also mentioned, that it is drug trafficking, human trafficking, piracy, and other such threats that are non-traditional threats. And then there are some transnational threats that trickles down to all the nations, because the sea is like a global common where everyone can traverse, everyone can use it. So because of that, the threats, they transcend from one country to another. So those are the transnational threats. So all these threats pose challenge for all the forces who are carrying out the maritime security operations in our region. So it is important that we understand those threats and then we encounter those threats. I think Sea Guard is one of those exercises that deals with the non-traditional threats. And those threats, that's where we bring in all the stakeholders. They can provide us information, and based on the information, we can take these steps to counter those. We conduct continuously, we conduct surveillance of the area. We have modern tools available with JMICC that can predict any kind of threat in advance, or it can get information from any source to undertake operations against those threats. Similarly, environmental threat and climate threat, I think these are transnational threats. These are transnational challenges that we are confronted with, and we need to collaborate with other countries to counter these challenges. And for that, we conduct the multinational exercises also with other countries, and also we have international collaboration of JMICC in this respect. Thank you.
Your point well taken, Commodore Atif Sahab. Commodore Abid, although Pakistan Navy and Pakistan Maritime Security Agency have extreme vigilance when it comes to the sea frontiers, and but we have seen most of the times either distract by some reason, or to have needed to have a big fish catch, or might be some sort of a greed, or because of some sort of a sea surge. Most of the times, the Indian fishermen trespass into the Pakistani maritime boundaries, although the vigilance is always there. But how do you see the exploitation of Pakistani resources, Pakistani maritime resources, particularly the fish and all others, in that whole scenario? The ecological and environmental impacts are already there, because when most of the times the fishermen use the prohibited nets and all others, so that actually harm our resources. So how do you see to tackle such threats of illegal fishing, particularly from the Indian side?
Yes, this is a very important question, and I would like to highlight that while our exclusive economic zone is constantly under effective surveillance, and you will not have any opportunity or any instance reported in a way that somebody has actually managed to get away with getting something which was not authorized or which was not part of it. So similar thing happens along our eastern boundary with our neighbor India, and in that case, as you have highlighted, that the poor fishermen, I would like to highlight that mostly
Sometimes they don't have any idea even
yeah,
that where they are going.
Mostly under such circumstances, they cross the line. And when it happens, and there is nothing else, no other option but for us to actually apprehend them and to have them scrutinized. What was the purpose of them coming here? So that is how we are actually ensuring that nothing of such nature, wherein they are fish catch or the ecosystem of related to the fish growth, that should not affect, because the R area, which is closer to the Indus Delta,
Obviously,
the creeks area,
yes,
is rich
very
of
right.
such system, and we don't want to have less of fish catch for our Pakistani fishermen. So the mechanism is there, and in that case, we don't allow such things to actually happen.
Okay, your point well taken.
I just want to add here.
Definitely, you can add into that question as well. So, Captain Mouse, what kind of efficacy of the surveillance, the monitoring and the response generation, vitality of the coordination between the fleet and the coastal commands? While how integration of the surface platforms, advanced surveillance assets like unmanned aerial vehicles, you have helicopters and the long-range maritime patrol aircrafts as well, contribute to the coastal security and the related operations? How critical it is?
I just before I answering this question, just want to add that just what Commodore Abid was saying, the role of Pakistan Maritime Agency is very important. While just you were talking about the defending that from the safeguarding it from any intrusion from the fishermen's, they are 24-hour surveillance, not only from the surface platforms, but from the aerial platform, playing a very important role to safeguard that maritime economic zones of Pakistan during that. Coming over to the question about the coordination between the fleet and the coastal command. Actually, these are the main two operation commands of Pakistan Navy, and that's what we do actually. That's our bread and butter. So while having all these platforms, the most important are the nerve centers nowadays, because as the technology have advanced, it gives us a lot of opportunities and options how to connect together. So while the the aircrafts in the air, the submarines under the sea, and the surface platforms at sea, they're all reports, they're all pictures, they're all gadgets are connected to one ops room, which creating a maritime picture for us that what's happening in the complete area. So that's what Fleet Command is doing. Then the Coastal Command, which have a very elaborated system of security, which we have established around more than 1,000 kilometers of coastline. We call it the Coastal Security and Harbor Defense Mechanism. We have installed the radars all along the coast, and all the picture of those radars are connected to an ops room. So while those pictures are updated, we have the response elements as well at each local security station. We call it LSS, local surveillance security stations. So that is actually helping. So both the commands are doing their job, but then through the ops room and those nerve centers, they share their pictures together, that what's happening deep at sea and what's happening in the coastal command. And then they coordinate through those operations rooms, and they have the pictures of all the the assets which are operating. So those are the ops rooms, or the operation centers actually played a vital role in the coastal security to connect all those assets together and their for their efficacy of surveillance and generation of response.
Well elaborated, Captain Moaz. Commodore Atif sir, how exercise Sea Guard contributes to make harbor protection plans effective through coordination mechanisms with the concerned port authorities, especially when it comes to this China-Pakistan economic corridor, Gwadar port seaward security, in the backdrop of the Task Force 88, while role of intelligence or AI-based intelligence in gathering early warnings of any suspicious activity, particularly when we are talking about regarding the concerned stakeholders, including the public and the private sector through JMICC, as Gwadar is under severe pressure because of the inimical forces and terrorist activities. How do you respond to, because it is going to be the pivotal point when it comes to the Pakistan's economy and towards sea, the blue economy?
So thank you very much, Faisal. I think first thing is that this exercise Sea Guard has proved very useful with respect to security mechanism, enhancing security mechanism with the port authorities. And we have been able to establish an excellent, mechanism for coordination of all the activities within the port so that we can ensure security of all ports of Pakistan. With respect to CPEC, Pakistan Navy has specifically raised a task force 88 for the security of Gwadar port. That task force is equipped with, provided with ships, aircraft, and small response crafts so that we can ensure safety of the, uh, anything for the CPEC. Like if a ship is coming to Gwadar port, we can protect it through that mechanism through this task force 88. So task force 88 is very, very effective in safeguarding our CPEC part of the maritime security, maritime part of the CPEC security. JMICC has been equipped with very uh, advanced software systems and analytical tools. That includes, some AI enabled platform softwares. Especially, they have all kind of data available with them, but it is very difficult to extract the important information out of it. So it can, now we are heading towards the time where we can now, we will be able to predict threat from the data analysis. That is basically that we will be able to pick the absence of the normal or the presence of the abnormal within the our maritime domain. So that will definitely help us in future. We are heading towards that. Alhamdulillah, with respect to security of Gwadar port, I can safely say that security of Gwadar port is in safe hand. Alhamdulillah.
Your point well taken, Commodore Abid. How can we create better synergy between the intelligence operators, information gathering, and early warning mechanisms to ensure the safety and security of our ports, particularly the Karachi and the Karachi port and the Port Qasim? You know that they are right into the cosmopolitan city and having lots of threats there, and a huge challenges regarding their smooth operations, because when it comes to harbor or the port operation, it has an entirely different world. So how do you elaborate that how can we have the better synergy and the best of the best operations there at the ports and in the harbor as well?
Yeah. Actually, the exercise Safeguard provided us that platform also in a way to actually streamline those procedures. Let me tell you that all departments which are related to maritime activities at sea, including Pakistan Navy, which is the guardian of sea frontiers, has an effective intelligence mechanism put in place, wherein the other departments like the port authorities, as you have mentioned about the Port Qasim and Karachi port, they do have their own intelligence network. Now here is a requirement actually to have a coordination between naval intelligence, which is part and parcel of Pakistan Navy and is the main stakeholder of Joint Maritime Information Coordination Center, together with other port authorities.
So now these all stakeholders are under the umbrella of JMICC?
Yes, under the umbrella. Okay. Like the Karachi port, Port Qasim, Gwadar port, they all are under the umbrella of JMICC. Okay. And their intelligence network, it is there to help the port authority, primarily their own organization, and then linked with naval intelligence, okay, in order to actually control all such type of illegal activities, whether they are emanating from land or they are terminating from sea to land. So all harbors are made secure in the way of having effective and smooth intelligence coordination under the umbrella of JMICC, which is being managed through naval intelligence also.
Well elaborated, Commodore Abid. Captain Maus, there is no doubt that for trade, economic stability and national prosperity, desperately need the secure seas and the safe maritime environment overall. It is critical really. So how much it's imperative to have multi-agency coordination, collaboration between civil, military and the law enforcement agencies, as we are focusing pivot to pivot at JMICC and its umbrella role. So how much key it is to the real-time success?
As we have talked earlier as well, I think we all have talked about this main thing is the purpose of all that maritime security is to ensure the trade,
Definitely.
the commerce and the economy of the nation to grow. So all have that one
because
objective.
ultimately maritime
Yes.
and the blue economy has a huge
Huge
potential,
potential.
and Pakistan still have to tap
So
that.
once we talk about that economy and the blue economy, so it becomes the responsibility of all. You know, it's just not the one organization maybe taking the lead, but it becomes the responsibility for all of us to contribute. And you know, the jointness is the way forward. As you know, Allama Iqbal said, "Fard qaim rabte millat se hai, tanha kuch nahi, मौज है दरिया में और बैरून दरिया कुछ नहीं." So it's the jointness which will be required. So it will be the collaborative effort of not only the government organization, LEAs, but also the NGOs, civil sector to contribute whatever small little they can, so that we can, you know, make that all small
whole of the
things,
nation approach is
whole
needed
of the
actually.
nation approach. There you go.
You're
That's the
absolutely
point.
right. Absolutely right. Commodore Atif Sahab, how much Pakistan Navy's approach is proactive through exercise Sea Guard by including the public-private sector entities in securing the maritime zones, ensuring security and safeguarding the national interests? When we are talking about particularly the shipping lanes, because lots of threats are there for them as well. China-Pakistan economic corridor related infrastructure, and contributes to the broader regional stability, because Pakistan Navy has the dedicated maritime patrols as well, and of course when we are talking about the Aman exercise, the Aman dialogue and all others, these are all actually bunch of the same categorization to have peace and stability at sea. So how we are actually gathering it, how we are achieving these objectives in a real sense?
Thank you very much, Faisal. I think the most important thing is that this exercise Sea Guard itself is actually, as you have mentioned, it's actually a proactive approach towards maritime security of our maritime zones within Pakistan. Uh, how this can how this is really helping is that first of all, for the maritime security, it was only Navy that was looking after within the maritime zones. Now, with the passage of time, there is a realization at leadership level that we have to involve each and every stakeholder that is involved in the maritime domain, be it fishing community, be it the tourism department, be it economic stakeholders like the LNG terminals or fuel terminals, and similarly the ports and shipping, all those. So bringing them together to tackle these maritime security challenges of the future, it was it is the key to success to the maritime security of this region. So this exercise was particularly envisioned to tackle these challenges that we are facing. Like, there was no collaboration of that level that we can see now. We did first exercise, and after first exercise, I think the biggest success was that people knew that there is something called JMICC, and people started contacting JMICC, started providing them information. And by the time we completed this exercise today, now we can see the maximum stakeholders, they are aware and they are now collaborating with us. They participated in the exercise, and that is the success of this exercise, and that's what we wanted to achieve. There is a long way to go. I think it's not the end, but I think we have started on in the right direction for maritime collaboration, maritime security collaboration, and all stakeholders are contributing to that. And this is the proactive approach, I think, from the naval
Atif Sahib, although more than 50 national stakeholders, it's an overwhelming participation really into the exercise Sea Guard 2025. What about the private entities and the non-governmental organizations' participations in the recent exercise to further enhance the capabilities to attain the joint national objectives of the shared responsibility of maritime security? How much they are interested in, and how much the national NGOs and the private sector participated in that, because other than the public stakeholders?
Very good question, Faisal. That is, I think, the key to this exercise. We have witnessed during this exercise the participation of non-government organizations like EDI, Karangi Fish Harbor, Fisheries Department Sindh, Karachi Fish Authority, Pakistan Fishers Folk Forum, Since Trawlers Owners Association and even the ferry operators, small ferry operators, they all have come together apart from the government organizations. So that is the success of this exercise, and I think we have been able to achieve this that now all the stakeholders, whether they are from the government organizations, they are private owners, they are some non-government organizations, or some other organizations that are operating within the maritime zones of Pakistan. So I think that was the success of this exercise, and I think with the future exercises, this.
Your point well taken, Commodore Atif. Commodore Abid, how does Pakistan Navy ensure the interoperability between the different maritime forces and the law enforcement agencies at the national level during the exercise Seaguard 2025, particularly I'm talking about? How much it's pivotal to have integration and refine existing security mechanisms and effectively collaborate, because the threat environment is changing. It's an evolutionary process. It's always evaluated. So response to these various maritime threats, how we are actually changing it and making it more robust when it comes to the maritime security.
Yes, answer to your question is that the challenges in the maritime sector are evolving. And here we have a requirement actually to adjust to our already defined procedures, already defined area of responsibility, wherein the maritime response is primarily with Pakistan Navy, as explained earlier also. That is, the Coastal Command is responsible for coastal security and by employing elements of coastal security and harbor defense. So that is the Coastal Command responsibility, which is linked with another area of responsibility which stretches to the limits of Pakistan exclusive economic zone, which is under the Fleet Command. And the other stakeholders, like if we come across any activity out at sea, so we have to bring that contact back to the shore and hand it over to the concerned law enforcement agency in the form of customs, police, FIA. So these are the agencies which are there and they have their own mandate. But to come to the directly to the point where you actually asked for this question, is that Pakistan Navy is responsible for ensuring maritime security at sea, and the other all agencies are interconnected under the umbrella of JMICC, working within their own area of responsibility, already well known and established, without any conflict.
Well described. Captain Maus, we have run short of time, so be brief on that. What are the threats we foresee to our coastal communities, to our coastal areas, regarding the security and safety of those coastal communities, particularly the fishermen whose livelihood is there to go to sea and have fish catch? So how do you see, because lots of threats they are confronting as well?
I would say that the coastal communities have two kinds of threats when we talk about non-conventional threats, as already elaborated by Commodore Atif. So I will add on to it that the threats are normally from the, you can say, the weather calamities, like we have in Indian Ocean. A lot of time the sea gets rough or the cyclones are coming. So that's one type of threat they have. And the other is like non-traditional threats like this smuggling, and sometimes like people not actually fishing in their zones or coming overlapping, like the as we talked about earlier as well, that Indian fishermen coming in that area. So these kind of threats normally they have there. Also, their communities are also disturbed by sometimes like these smugglers, that smuggling stuff are coming on the narco. So these are the threats which are these coastal communities facing within the general, when we talk about the maritime threats, not the day-to-day other threats.
But Maritime Security Agency is effectively taking all these threats and to neutralize and all that.
So it's just not the maritime security. They are doing their one part of the role, but other doing parts of, like some of coastal security is done by the Coastal Command as well, which is primarily the Pakistan Navy through some of the the LSS stations.
And the Coast Guards as well, and all other agencies.
Yes, all other LEAs actually which are directly or indirectly involved with the maritime sector.
So one question to be very brief to both of you, that is related to the undersea cables, because these are right now the digital highways and the highways of prosperity, what we categorize in recent world. because internet traffic and the data traffic and all others, that is based on that. And we have the digital economy, we are growing very rapidly into the IT industry. So we are dependent on that. So how we are actually ensuring the safety and security of those undersea cables?
Yes, I would like to brief you on this. As you mentioned in your brief also, that JMICC is having a system which is called Joint Maritime Information System,
Yes,
JMISS.
yes.
Now, under that system, we have digitalized maps of our area of responsibility, where the submarine cables, which are the digital highways, or you rightly highlighted, this is the future. This has a linkage with the country's economy, and it is linked with the blue economy, because if it is not safe, the entire, if the digital media, if the digital network goes out, the economy gets affected. Now, part of the JMICC, together with the relevant stakeholders, is that all the submarine cables areas, particularly closer to the shore, where the submarine cables are terminating, ending up to the land, those areas are marked and designated as a no fishing zone, as a no activity allowed, no ship, no fishing boat should be able to actually anchor herself over there. And in case of any violation of that, the response by the Pakistan Navy and together with the Pakistan Maritime Security Agency will be very prompt and effective to actually check that, what type of violation is that, and to actually handle that.
Means Pakistan Navy and Pakistan Maritime Security Agency is also vigilant at that part as well. So thank you very much Commodore Abid for your presence here. Thank you very much Captain Mahmood for your presence, and thank you very much Commodore Adil Sultan for joining us all the way from Karachi, and very elaborative views you have given. Thank you very much for your presence as well. Viewers, as you have just listened to our fellows from Pakistan Navy, 95% of Pakistan's trade is based upon the sea routes, and their protection and the sea lanes safety and security is paramount for Pakistan's economy. So in that sense, Joint Maritime Information and Coordination Center is playing a pivotal role, an umbrella role, in which right now the more than 50 stakeholders are doing their job to have collaborative maritime security at sea and in the coastal areas, because most of the fishermen and the communities have the livelihood at sea, and whole of Pakistan is dependent upon the sea trade. So smooth and effective coordination among the public-private sectors to have the blue economy flourish, and to have linkages with the international partners as well, also to disseminate this the data and the intelligence information and all that, to have effective actions to secure our sea and the sea routes. When we are talking about particularly in the peacetime, the non-traditional and transnational threats, these are the areas which were primarily focused in this exercise Sea Guard 2025 and in the next years to come as well. So there is a robust kind of fleet and coastal command collaboration and coordination in Pakistan Navy, as well as Pakistan Navy and all other related stakeholders and agencies. So we have to be assured that Pakistan's maritime zone is fully protected in the overall arena, and we have very important and encouraging sign is that the private sector is now taking the responsibility. They are feeling that they are the real stakeholders and they are coming into, and that's very encouraging, because ultimately public-private sector together and under the umbrella of JMICC and Pakistan Navy, Pakistan Maritime Security Agency and all other related agencies, we can have a secure sea and sea routes to have robust trade and commerce, so that Pakistan's blue economy must have to be flourished. This is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz Nasir.